And now, Knock 2 Studios presents Common Censored.
What can be, unburdened by what has been.
What can be, unburdened by what has been.
What can be.
Shut the fuck up. Shut all the way the fuck up until you reach the top of Shut Fuck Mountain, where there are no more fuck-ups to shut.
What?
Uh-oh, we've got some issues here, apparently. Why is my screen black? Hold on a second, guys. Let me figure out what's going on here. Well, I'm here. Regardless, thanks for being here, all of you censored commoners, for this episode 206 of Common Censored. This is weird. It looks like... let me try this. Boom. There we go. There we go. All right, we're good. We're good. It's not Common Censored without some kind of little technical issue at some point. Thanks for being here, everybody. This is episode 206. Kamala Harris wants to take your guns away. Bad Kamala. Is World War III imminent? Apparently, Israel has struck Iran, Lebanon, and Syria within the past, 24 hours or so. So that's not good. Hopefully it doesn't escalate. We have more continuation of the big tech interference with the election as well. Thanks for being here, everybody. Make sure to join us Monday through Friday, 6:30-ish p.m. That's right, Mama Mac. It's Hump Day today.
Hump Day!
Sorry we didn't make an appearance yesterday. It was my mom's birthday, so went to celebrate that and had a good time. Sorry for the absence of the show in the meantime. Make sure to use hashtag Common Censored when you share the broadcast on X, Getter, Truth, Gab, where else? Every place that is social media, forums, any place you can think of. People who share the show will be enlisted into the Common Censored Info Infantry. Let me know how many times you've shared, send screenshots, etc., and I will tally them up and promote you to the various ranks in all of our branches. Thanks in advance for sharing the show. You can find us on X at @LordSterling_, and hopefully I'll get the original account back one of these days. Links to all of the content we discussed today will be posted down in the description after the broadcast. So if you're watching this later on and you need to maximize the efficiency of your focus and time and attention, hit that description button, scroll through the various topics we cover, find what interests you, and then jump right to the video at the timestamp location, which will be added by Mama Mac. Thanks, Mama Mac, for helping out with that. And if you want to support Mama Mac and fam, then jump over to alplama.com, your new herbal health guru. That's right, ALPLAMA.com, Alp Llama. They have delicious herbal teas and also herbal extracts that'll help remedy any of the various ailments from which you may be suffering. Avoid the petrochemical pharmaceutical industry that wants to keep you sick and dependent, and use natural remedies that probably have fewer side effects than the crazy chemicals that they want to put in your body. If you want to support the show directly, you can head on over to our link tree, where you can find links to our various merch, our books, our Subscribestar, Locals, Cash App, Venmo, Google Pay, etc. Everybody that supports will be added into the commissioned officers and the warrant officers, depending on how you support the info infantry. So thanks again for supporting us. Let's see what's next. Disclaimer. Views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Assume everything we say is false and research for yourself. We're not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. The only advice we are giving is think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. question authority. And of course, the most important person here is Ed, in case you were wondering, just to make that perfectly clear for everybody. Big Ugly in the house. Thanks for being here. So let's jump into the news. This was posted shortly ago, showing the situation over in Pennsylvania as Donald Trump makes his appearance at the Farm Show Complex and Expo Center in Harrisburg, which is filled with thousands of supporters filling up the Expo Center, waiting for the former president to arrive. It's probably arrived like right now. Maybe we'll hop over there and check it out at some point. But look at that. Massive crowds wherever Donald Trump goes, especially in Pennsylvania after what happened. Glad to see this is an indoor venue as opposed to doing another outdoor venue. I was hoping he won't go back to Butler, to that exact location. You don't want to tempt fate multiple times. I know lightning doesn't tend to strike in the same place more than one time, but if there is a lightning rod, it does. And that lightning rod in this case happens to be the Secret Service and FBI's asshole. In other news, Google has responded to allegations of manipulating their search autocomplete, the search suggestion function, saying no manual action taken. Google has responded to the uproar on X regarding potential election interference and information warfare against President Donald Trump. Really? We're going with potential? I mean, it's completely, blatantly obvious. It appears that big tech and the demon rats might not want the American people to remember the assassination attempt on Trump, as it doesn't appear in Google's autocomplete search function, which is designed to help users find information faster and more accurately. Quote, "We've got protections in place against autocomplete predictions associated with political violence, which is normally a good thing." Bullshit. Because if you search for anybody else that's had an assassination attempt or anything, it comes up automatically. They're just blacklisting Trump searches. You type in Trump rally and it comes up with Kamala Harris rallies. It's all just searches around Trump that are being manipulated. Super crazy. Quote, "That said, we're working on improvements to ensure our systems are more up to date. Regardless of what autocomplete shows, you can always search for whatever you want, and we'll provide access to the info available, including about this horrific incident." Except they manipulate the search results as well. So it's not just the autocomplete that they're manipulating, it is the search results. Look at this. We have images of people searching for Trump rallies. Elon Musk posted this saying he just did a search for Trump rally on Google, and Kamala was the top result. Kamala, look, he searches Trump rally and it comes up Kamala Harris rally in Atlanta. How nice of you, Google, as Alex Jones rightfully points out. More election interference. Indeed, speaking of which, let's hop over to an interview with Man in America, who over at Man in America on Rumble, who interviewed Dr. Robert Epstein. He's like a 30-year expert in behavioral sciences, I believe, and he did a big interview or a presentation in front of Congress in 2019 showing how Google search results and autocomplete can manipulate the way people think and the way that they vote. And so let's hop over here with Man in America as he interviews Robert Epstein. This is a couple months old, but it's really important information to look at in light of all of the allegations of manipulation that are going on right now.
Please enjoy this interview with Dr. Robert Epstein. Dr. Epstein, it is such an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So I first came...
And that sounded super gay, but he's not gay. He had a wife who just so happened to die unexpectedly right around the time he made his congressional testimony. I'm sure it's in no way connected to him exposing Google's election manipulation.
Across your work, probably maybe even 3, 4, 5 years ago, when I had seen your documentary, which I believe is called The Creepy Line. Is that right? That's the
really good documentary.
And
The Creepy Line, and you can watch it at creepyline.org. Creepyline.org.
Okay. And it was mind-blowing. It was, and I guess maybe I'll let you just explain the basis of it in your work, and then I'll just kind of take it from there, because you're going to do a better job than I am.
Well, the documentary was made by Peter Schweitzer, who's a very well-known a journalist and author, has written some best-selling books. He's also become a good friend over the years. But he's the one who created this film, and it's not just about me and my work. It's about the threat that big tech companies, especially Google, pose to democracy. It talks about the surveillance problem, the censorship problem, and then it talks a lot about my work, which is on how these companies manipulate opinions and votes. And I recommend it highly. Again, it's at creepyline.org because they just did a fabulous job, without my help, by the way, of explaining my research. And they made lots of beautiful visuals to explain my research. And I have trouble explaining my research. So this film is really great in that respect.
And I think that now that we're entering into the election season again, and we've just passed the primaries, which of course everyone's talking about, election integrity is obviously very important. We live in a country where we are hopefully are casting our votes, and those votes are being counted the right way, et cetera. And there's a lot of movements that are focused on election integrity, a lot of even bipartisan movements that are focused on that, which is really good because I think it's really a civil rights issue to be able to cast a vote in this country and have it count. But what you've done and with your work, it paints a picture that I find far outweighs. I mean, even if we had perfect elections where every single ballot was hand cast and hand counted, the work that you've done uncovers something I think is a far greater threat, which is the role that big tech, especially Google specifically, but also the other big tech, the way that they can interfere with elections. And so, why don't you just introduce some of the different concepts that you first have put out that was out in the Creepy Line, and help people understand just the power that even Google has, even with the Google search and search suggestion, that they have to alter the course of an election.
People don't understand
Yes,
the
this is
subliminal power of Google, how it can change the way you think by showing you what's at the top of those search results or what's at the top of those search suggestions. It alters the way people think in a huge way.
Very important for people to understand. And I've actually have relationships now with people from different organizations, left and right, who are interested in election integrity. And this is an important issue. And people are going about trying to understand this issue and make sure that we have election integrity, make sure we have free and fair elections. They're going about it in different ways. My conservative friends have their concerns. My liberal friends have their concerns. I could go through the list, but then I won't be able to talk about my own work, so I won't do that. But the point is, election integrity, very important issue. Now, it's true that the people I know who look at election integrity tend not to look at the big tech companies. That's a big mistake. That's a big mistake. They've got to start looking at the big tech companies, because it turns out, and this is what my 11 plus years of very rigorous controlled research shows, it turns out that these companies, Google above all, have the ability to shift millions of votes without people knowing and without leaving a paper trail for authorities to trace. Now, that's very different than shifting a few hundred votes or a few thousand votes here and there because of ballot harvesting or ballot stuffing or whatever the terms are.
We're talking about millions of people's votes being shifted. They're manipulating it, according to Epstein, 92% of elections worldwide. This is a huge, huge problem that's right under the radar. People don't even know that it's going on, but it's probably the biggest factor in election manipulation that we have. So this is really super important information for people to understand.
This is happening on a much, much larger scale. Moreover, a lot of those issues that people have been looking at, the Dems, they tend to look at gerrymandering, for example, as a way of kind of controlling the outcome of elections. Whatever these issues are, what's happening with the tech companies, it's like it's almost as if the earth has shifted under your feet, but you just didn't notice. In other words, it's so big and so widespread and so impactful
and so subliminal
that it just becomes almost just part of the air we breathe, and people just don't pay any attention, even where they might suspect something, even where they think something could be happening. They just don't pay attention. So what I've been doing are two different kinds of things now for a long time. One is in controlled experiments, which we publish in peer-reviewed journals, which is very hard to do, by the way. I have to emphasize that. To say you publish in peer-reviewed journals, and if we publish in some of the top journals in the world, is really, really difficult. Your work has to go through incredible scrutiny. The vast majority of papers that are submitted to peer-reviewed journals are rejected and never see the light of day.
Again, this is Dr. Robert Epstein, no relation to Jeffrey.
So we actually run these experiments, and then we present them at scientific meetings. We publish in peer-reviewed journals. So what do the experiments show? The experiments show the power that these tech companies have to shift opinions and votes.
The power of the dark side.
So they don't show that the companies are using these techniques. They show the power. So the very first one we discovered, which we call SEME, SEME, which stands for Search Engine Manipulation Effect, that was back in 2013. Basically, people are assigned at random without knowing to 3 different groups. In one group, they're going to see search results that favor candidate A. And in the other group, those search results will favor candidate B. In the third group, which is a control group, they don't favor either candidate. The research results are all mixed. So that means we're ordering search results so that if you click near the top and you're in the candidate A group, you're going to end up going to a web page which makes candidate A look really good or candidate B look really bad, or both. Now, it turns out people trust high-ranking search results. That's a long story that has to do with the fact that when we use the search engines, most of the things we query are simple facts. What's the capital of Ohio? And those always turn up at the top so that we learn over and over again. We're like rats in a Skinner box. We learn what's at the top is best.
And also just years and years of people getting used to the most searched, the most clicked results appearing at the top. But they did a bait and switch where they got everybody hooked by providing the best results, the most searched, the most clicked results at the top. And then once they did that, they changed it behind the scenes and started showing you what they want you to think are the top clicked results. So it's like a bait and switch. It's fraud, in my opinion. There needs to be massive lawsuits.
What's at the top is truest. Then the day comes where we look up something that, where we're trying to make up our minds, where we're not sure. So we might just type in something like Trump or Ramaswamy, or we might type in something that's kind of open-ended and where there is no definite answer. And the question is, what is the search engine showing you? And what I'm telling you is, whatever it's showing you at the top, that's what people trust, and that's where people click. Now, if they're undecided, I thought maybe that meant that we could shift their thinking by controlling the ordering of search results. Okay, 2013, I'm predicting that by controlling those search results, we could get shifts in voting preferences of 2 or 3%. That was my prediction. So 2 or 3%. Hold that thought.
2 or 3.
In that first experiment we ran with representative voters, by the way, all of whom were undecided on the election we were using, we got a shift of 43%, which I thought was an error. So we repeated it with another group of representative voters, and we got a shift of 66%.
And of course, that is an absolutely astronomical level of shift. Astronomical. It's huge. It's huge. They can manipulate the shit out of most people just based on the results. People don't understand the importance of this, how massive the effect is.
And at which point I started to think,
yes, Mama Mac, people are that easily influenceable. These people are morons. Most people are really, really stupid, apparently, Mama Mac. But luckily, we're all on the smarter end of the bell curve over here, so we probably are more aware of this than most.
Hey, maybe there's something going on here. Maybe search engine companies have the power to shift votes. We also learned in those early experiments that people can't see the bias in search results. I mean, think about it. The search results themselves don't say much. They take you to a web page.
I can see the bias. We're at the point, a lot of us here, where we're like Neo in the Matrix, where we can see the code and right through the what the presentation. So a lot of us can probably see the bias.
By the time you go to a web page, you don't remember what the search results were. So people can't see if there's bias, even extreme bias in search results. So now we're talking about a a technique of influence, of manipulation that's new, that's made possible by the internet, that's made possible by the invention of search engines, and that people just are unaware of. They're unaware when this happens, when those shifts occur, they're unaware that they're being influenced. That makes them very, very dangerous. Also, search results are ephemeral. That's what they call them inside of Google. They're ephemeral. They appear, they affect you, they disappear, they're stored nowhere. There's no paper trail.
Boom. Unlike fake paper ballots or whatever, where you have a physical paper, something to go back on, they can send out little notifications reminding Democrats to go vote, or changing altering the search results to show what they want to lead you in a certain direction to go vote. And then there's no record of it whatsoever. It's the ultimate weapon, like an icicle, like stabbing somebody with an icicle, and then the icicle dissolves and there's no evidence of the murder weapon, like the old riddle or whatever it is. Make sure to watch the rest of this video when you guys have a chance. Link will be in the description. Check out his 2019 congressional testimony as well, where he breaks this down. He gets into the, real easy to see natural. So easy. I don't know why he's saying people can't see the bias in search results. Like maybe blind people who literally can't see. But yeah, it's pretty obvious. Check out his 2019 congressional testimony. We've played it a bunch of times, at least parts of it. He breaks down how the search suggestions and everything affect people as well. But let's keep it moving. You guys get the gist. How about this? OMG dropping video of one of the high ups in the DNC trashing Kamala. I don't think Kamala Harris would win, and he admits to making empty promises to the donors. Let's hop over to the original video on X posted by James O'Keefe and check out some of this video. Breaking: DNC manager, I don't think Kamala would win, admits to making empty promises to donors. Let's scope it out, guys. This is going to be a good one for sure. Look at this guy. You can already tell it's going to be entertaining. The walrus over here.
I like Kamala Harris, but I don't think she'd win this year.
Meet Joyce DeSears, him, the compliance manager to the
He,
DNC.
him, of
What's your
course.
official title?
Compliance manager. My specific job, like the end-all be-all of my job, is reporting to the government how much the DNC raised and where it spent its money.
Saying that she doesn't have any accomplishments to speak of.
She's weirdly unpopular. She doesn't have any accomplishments to speak of because she's vice president.
Joyce DeSears revealed how the DNC gains donations and what tactics they use, including just telling donors what they want them to hear.
When I was doing finance, like fundraising, we just call it finance and politics, you kind of tell a donor what they want to hear.
Which is what?
Whatever they want to hear.
DeSears admits to the OMG citizen journalist American Swiper, you kind of tell a donor just what they want to hear.
You just put on a performance for them, a little show, right?
You just put on a performance for them, a little show, right?
So basically we're just feeding into their fantasy.
Yeah. Which, you ever met a rich person? They want their fantasy to be, fed into.
So we just take their money and we smile and nod our head, but we don't really take their opinions into our strategy.
100%.
So some donors are holding back on writing the checks because they think that the campaign's not doing well. Why would they think that?
I don't know, a lot of people think we should attack Trump more.
We should attack Trump more.
Yeah.
Do you feel like our strategy has always been just take their money and tell them what they want to hear?
Yeah, that's politics.
This is just a microcosm of the whole Democrat operation where your voice means nothing and they'll just do whatever they want. Nobody voted for Kamala. She didn't get a single delegate in 2020, 1% of the vote in the primaries, but nope, they're just going to push her up there right to the top and claim, oh, you're not for democracy if you don't back Kamala. But there was no vote. You guys are the ones that are not in favor of democracy. I mean, fuck democracy, obviously. We don't like democracy, but they're hypocrites pretending to be in favor of democracy when really what they want is top-down communist rule.
There's always been an artifice that pervades our politics in this country, with people never willing to say out loud what the truth is. And the political marketing industry, masquerading as journalists, participate in that lie. But
yeah, a lot of Republicans too, for sure. The Uniparty.
Every once in a while, we manage to catch them being honest. And when we do, they tell you the truth, what they really think, what they really believe, what they won't say in public for reasons that are themselves important. And they tell you things like this.
And what's your official title?
Compliance manager.
You're the only
Gross.
person.
Yeah. I don't manage anyone.
I mean, you manage compliance.
I manage-
That's
Sorry
huge,
for that.
right? I mean, like there's a lot of legality involved. I
I
imagine.
can't say like I manage the compliance department because
Yeah.
I don't. There's no department to manage. I manage me.
And remind me what compliance means again.
It's pretty much an accounting function. It's kind of like where accounting and legal meet. So it's
So you report.
yeah, my specific job, like the end all be all of my job is reporting to the government how much the DNC raised and where it spent its money. And Joe Biden's campaign right now because they don't have anyone doing that for them. So
Also, you're doing it for both the DNC and the Biden campaign.
yeah.
Meet Joyce DeSears, he, him, the compliance manager to the DNC in the former Biden campaign, now the Kamala Harris campaign. DeSears, as stated on his LinkedIn, is a, quote, political operations expert with experience in people and culture, financial operations, and compliance. DeSears divulged further into what his role description is for the DNC, the former Biden campaign, and now the Kamala Harris campaign. In today's rapidly evolving healthcare landscape and mysterious shortages of medical
Let's skip ahead here for a minute.
and a additional light kit. Order your dollars, and our commitment is first aid of C.OMG. Two-part series investigation of the Democratic National Committee and the newly established Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. Americans across the country are just a few short months away from electing a new president of the United States in what has already been an insane campaign cycle, and the election is just around the corner. Here at OMG, we decided to investigate and found ourselves looking into the Democratic National Committee, the Joe Biden campaign, and now the Kamala Harris presidential campaign. Let's dive right in. Joyce DeSears, the DNC compliance manager, met our OMG American
Gross.
Swiper on the dating app Bumble, where they met on multiple occasions. He spoke to the journalist about the DNC, Vice President Harris, President Joe Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, recently Vice President.
So surprisingly, he seems to be straight because he's talking with a chick, right? Bumbles for meeting chicks.
Kamala Harris has launched her
Interesting.
campaign for president of the United States. What does the DNC compliance manager, Joyce DeSears, he, him, think of Kamala running? Well, he confided to our OMG journalist about the fears of the vice president losing to Donald Trump, revealing Kamala Harris has no accomplishments to run on, saying, quote, I don't think Kamala Harris would win this year, and saying that she doesn't have any accomplishments to speak of. He even goes so far as to say that Kamala Harris won't win even if she ran in 2028.
I like Kamala Harris, but I don't think she'd win this year.
Why?
She's weirdly unpopular. I think a lot of that is racism and misogyny.
You're dumb.
And the vice president's so easy to attack, right? She doesn't have any accomplishments to speak of because she's vice president. She doesn't make laws. Her job is to become president if Joe Biden does. And a lot of the time, the vice president, whoever they are, gets sent to do the hard stuff. So yeah.
So why do you think she's constantly getting attacked?
Honestly, if you look at the stuff people attack her with, it is a bunch of racist, sexist bullshit.
Just a bunch of racist, sexist bullshit, guys.
Oh, retard alert! Retard alert, class!
So you guys get the gist. This guy's a loser, just straight up lying to the donors, the people they're trying to get, bilk money out of. And he doesn't even think that Kamala has a chance. So these guys are just lying scumbags trying to rob you and tell you whatever they need to tell you to get yo money. Pretty brutal stuff. Let's jump over to our next topic. From Gateway Pundit, acting Secret Service director loses composure, plays victim as Senator Hawley grills him over attempted Trump assassination. Fears Secret Service will be unfairly persecuted. Oh, really? Is it so unfair to to persecute those who did not even protect the former president, who didn't have their meeting with the local police? And had no contact, no communication with the local authorities on scene, who stripped Trump of his normal Secret Service detail and replaced him with a bunch of FUPA wielding short females from DHS who couldn't even holster a pistol. Oh, but it's unfair to persecute these people who orchestrated the obvious attempted inside job assassination of the former president. These people are losers. Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe testified before the Senate Judiciary and Senate Homeland Security Committees Tuesday in a joint hearing on the assassination attempt of President Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th. Let's watch this video.
The person who is in charge of the interoperability of radio frequencies between local law enforcement and Secret Service. Has that person been relieved of duty?
No, Senator, because interoperability is a challenge, is a greater challenge than just one person. On that day, we had a counterpart system. It failed spectacularly.
As the person who made the decision to send
because you weren't even communicating with him, bro.
Donald Trump onto stage knowing that you had a security situation, has that person been relieved of duty?
No, sir, they haven't.
Has the person who decided not to pull the former president off of stage when you knew that, in your words, the locals were working a serious security situation, has that person been relieved of duty?
No, sir. Again, I refer you back to my original answer that we are investigating this through a mission assurance. And as opposed to zeroing in on one,
what more do you need to investigate to know
exactly what the decision-making process was?
Investigate to know that there were critical enough failures that some individuals ought to be held accountable? I mean, what more do you need to know?
What I need to know is exactly what happened, and I need my investigators to do their job. And I cannot.
A lot of people didn't do.
How about remove them from duty while they're being investigated for not getting the president off the stage when you knew that the dude was over there for 90 minutes? This is ridiculous. Just remove him from duty while you investigate. How about that?
I cannot put my thumb on the scale.
You're investigating stuff that we already know. So we all know that this happened, but the FBI can't figure it out. Or Secret Service. This is ridiculous.
Otherwise,
what do you mean put your thumb on the scale?
You're asking me, Senator, to completely investigators to do their job, and I cannot.
A lot of people didn't do their jobs.
I cannot put my thumb on the scale. Otherwise,
what do you mean put your thumb on the scale?
You're putting your thumb on the scale by not removing these people from duty.
You're asking me, Senator, to completely make a rush to judgment about somebody failing. I acknowledge this was a failure of the Secret Service.
Is it not prima facie that somebody has failed? A former president was shot.
Sir, this could have been our Texas school book depository. I have lost sleep over that for the last 17 days.
Yeah, because it failed and you wanted it to succeed, allegedly.
Fire somebody.
And now you're going to lose your job because you failed brutally. So that's why you're losing sleep. You wanted this to happen. Don't sit up there and bullshit us.
I will tell you, Senator, that I will not rush to judgment, that people will be held accountable, and I will do so with integrity and not rush to judgment and put people unfairly persecuted.
Unfairly persecuted?
Unfairly,
We've got people who are dead.
Have to
the person who's in charge.
Everybody involved that day completely, and nobody would be unfairly persecuted because they failed their primary objective, protecting the president. This guy is just full of shit. How about this? President Trump goes there, republishes social media post that links Chris Wray and the FBI to his assassination attempt. He posted this: "What did you know and when did you know about it? Read truth if you want to know who ordered the assassination of Donald J. Trump." So he posted this, read truth, that implying that Christopher Wray knew something. So good for you, Donald Trump, not backing down, pointing out the evildoers involved with this. How about this? Kanakawa the Great posted this: breaking, Gab founder at Based Torba just released an FBI emergency disclosure request, EDR, that names Thomas Matthew Crook's Biden-supporting social media account after FBI Deputy Director Paul Abadi falsely testified under oath to Congress. According to his Gab account, Crooks supported Biden lockdowns and Biden's border policies. But FBI Deputy Director Paul Abadi told Congress that, quote, an account believed to be associated with the shooter had posted 700 comments in 2019 and 2020 with, quote, anti-Semitic and anti-immigration views.
Something just very recently uncovered that I want to share is a social media account which is believed to be associated with the shooter in about the 2019-2020 timeframe. There were over 700 comments posted from this account. Some of these comments, if ultimately attributable to the shooter, appear to reflect anti-Semitic and anti-immigration themes, to espouse political violence, and are described as extreme in nature. While the investigative team is still working to verify this account to determine if it did in fact belong to the shooter, We believe it important to share and note it today, particularly given the general absence of other information to date from social media and other sources of information that reflect on the shooter's potential motive and mindset. These are the facts, in part, that the investigation has revealed to date. While the shooter is dead, our work is very much ongoing and urgent. Something just very recent.
So these guys are just straight up lying, allegedly. This is the EDR from Andrew Torba. On 7/13/2024, Thomas Matthew Crooks traveled to the Butler Farm Show located at 625 Evans City Road, attempted to assassinate former President Donald Trump. In doing so, Crooks fatally shot one identified victim and critically wounded two others. Crooks left behind two potential explosive devices in his vehicle located near the farm show. Yeah, apparently he wanted to get everybody to freak out and then start making for the exit, and then they were going to set off the explosives there at the bottleneck where everybody was trying to exit. Luckily, that didn't happen. FBI investigative efforts identified several emails, telephones, and one possible Gab account associated with Crooks. This emergency disclosure request is being submitted to identify any co-conspirators for the time period from the inception of the account to the present. Please provide the following records and information for all Google accounts associated with the following email addresses and/or identification numbers. So they sent this to Gab CEO Andrew Torba to try to get the information, and there are posts that go against the claims by the deputy director of the CIA or the Secret Service over there, claiming anti-Semitism and anti-immigrant stuff. Here he is defending Joe Biden's executive orders. They don't incentivize human trafficking. All kinds of information coming out about this, as Elon Musk has come out and said that it seems that this guy perjured himself making these claims about anti-Semitism and everything, which don't seem to match the evidence. Let's see. While an investigative team is still working to verify this account to determine if it did in fact belong to the shooter, we believe it important to share it and note it today, particularly given the absence of other information to date from social media that reflect on the shooter's potential motive and mindset. However, the FBI's request to Gab specifically identified Thomas Matthew Crooks' account as, quote, Epic Microwave, which had posted comments completely opposite to what the FBI just told Congress. Moreover, Crooks donated $15 to a progressive PAC on January 20th, 2021, and posted comments supporting Joe Biden's border policies on Gab just weeks later in February 2021. Why is the deputy director lying under oath about Thomas Matthew Crooks' views to Congress and the American people? It does seem like there's some deception going on over here. DC Drano posted about it as well, saying, new FBI caught lying about Trump assassins' motives after claiming Crooks espoused, quote, anti-immigrant rhetoric. An archive of his Gab account shows his blatantly leftist rhetoric that was actually pro-immigration. He talks about how illegals should be made citizens by executive order to be more easily reunited with their other relatives in the U.S. This FBI lie comes just days after Christopher Wray claimed Trump wasn't shot and then backtracked after the public outcry. Yeah, it almost seems like, if you were involved with an assassination plot and it fails, you might go out there afterwards and say, hey, we don't even know if a bullet hit him. This, to me, indicates that Christopher Wray and the FBI were probably involved as they try to downplay it. Why does the FBI keep lying through their teeth? So you guys can analyze all his posts on your own. There are tons of screenshots at this point, breaking it all down. Let's jump over to our next topic. Actually, I think I skipped one here. Let's see what this is. Oh, this is a post by Torba himself. Andrew Torba, breaking. The FBI is now claiming the Trump shooter Thomas Matthew Crooks had an unspecified social media account in 2019-2020 when he was 14 to 15 years old that posted, quote, anti-immigrant and anti-Semitic content. This is not consistent with Gab's understanding of the shooter's motives based on an emergency disclosure request we received from the FBI last week for the account, quote, Epic Microwave, which, based on the content of that EDR, the FBI appeared to think belonged to Thomas Crooks. Many, particularly regime media reporters, have doubted Gabb's claims that this request existed. Normally, we don't confirm the existence or content of law enforcement communications. In this instance, we had to make an exception due to the overwhelming public interest in disclosure and transparency. As a courtesy to law enforcement, we are not going to post the entire request. This is the first page of the request. The story is this: the account for which the data requested was unequivocally pro-Biden, and in particular, pro-Biden's immigration policies. To the best of Gabb's knowledge, as of 2021, Crooks was a pro-lockdown, pro-immigration, left-wing Joe Biden supporter. Yet the FBI comes out and just straight up allegedly lies to us about what his positions were. Why? Why are they doing that? Here he had posted last week, approximately 30 minutes ago, Gabb learned that Thomas Crooks, the deranged Joe Biden supporter who attempted to assassinate President Donald Trump, may have had an account on our platform. We were unable to confirm the account in question actually belonged to him, but there are posts, didn't you also think Biden would lose in a landslide? Yeah, I would not be very confident in your election predictions. First of all, Biden executive orders don't incentivize human trafficking, etc. Pro-Biden policies. Let's jump over to our next topic with Kamala heals up Kamala Harris. Kamala, this posted by Ian Miles Chong at Still Gray. Kamala Harris wants to take away your guns. She says that mandatory gun confiscation is a great idea, and if Congress doesn't do it, she'll do it through an executive order. Let's take a look at this clip. This might be an old clip, but there's a new one from a speech she gave over in Atlanta.
Adding to your gun control agenda? Yeah, I think it's a great idea, but I mean, listen, I don't think we lack for great ideas. As I've said many times, we've been having great ideas for decades. The problem is that Congress has not had the courage to act. And that is why, from the beginning, I have said, my agenda includes attempting to get Congress to act, but if they don't within the first 100 days of my administration, I'm going to take executive action. Because what we need is action.
She'll take your guns by executive action. Kamala Harris vows to confiscate guns in Atlanta campaign speech. This by Christina Layla. Kamala Harris on Tuesday evening held a campaign rally in Atlanta, Georgia. Harris stopped at a black-owned soul food restaurant before her rally. Harris is pandering to the black community as she faces criticism for keeping black men in prison after their release dates for cheap labor. She made a stop at Pascal's restaurant in Atlanta, black-owned business known for its soul food. But Democrat Senator Warnock, who almost ran over his wife, joined Harris at the event. You guys remember that back in 2020? That was pretty sketchy. Let's check out this clip.
I am so honored to be introducing the next President of the United States of America, Vice President Kamala Harris.
What's up, Warnock? I don't even recognize him. Kamala Harris wasted no time going after the Second Amendment. She vowed to confiscate firearms through so-called red flag laws. And Trump wasn't great about this either. He said, take the guns and then give them due process. Wait a second. Something doesn't line up there, Mr. Trump. Mr. President, quote, we who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence. That's not a freedom. Sorry. Freedom is inherently dangerous. You don't have a right to live safe from gun violence. You have a right to live and to protect yourself, but you can't, control what other people are going to do. We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence will finally pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban.
We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence will finally pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban.
So frustrating. Recall that Kamala Harris previously said mandatory gun confiscation is a great idea and that she'll do it by executive action within her first 100 days. We just watched that clip. So this is ridiculous. The whole idea that citizens aren't supposed to be able to have war-grade weapons is bullshit. There used to be entire private armies of privateers who would go around with ships with cannons and do crazy stuff. My ex-great-grandfather, Major General William Alexander, Lord Sterling, he personally outfitted the New Jersey Regiment in the Continental Army with his own arms and money, and that was to wage a war. The whole purpose of the Second Amendment is so that people have the capability to wage war with weapons of war, because it's our duty, as articulated in the Declaration of Independence, to overthrow tyrannical governments. Not just our right, it's our duty. Let's check out this clip too.
Assault weapons, and whether or not you do, do you believe in the mandatory buyback of quote unquote assault weapons? And whether or not you do, how does that idea not go against fundamentally the Second Amendment?
Yeah, great question. I do believe that we need to do buybacks. A buyback program is a good idea. Now, we need to do it the right way. And part of that has to be, to buy back and give people their value, the financial value.
Adding to your gun control agenda?
Yeah,
As long as we give you the money, everything's fine. No, these people are losers. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about America or your rights. This is part of the global communist takeover. We got to get out there, and don't think we have it in the bag at this point just because Kamala is up against Trump. We got to get everybody out there to vote against Kamala, because they are definitely going to try to steal it again, in my opinion. Let's look at this. Elon Musk reposting Dr. Peter St. Ange. Population collapse is happening in so many countries, Elon says, and this is at PROF Stange on X. This guy, he's talking about Japan. Japan's population is collapsing. In the past year, Japan lost nearly 1 million people as fertility falls to a record 1.2 children per woman replacement rate. For every adult pair, you need a 2.1 replacement rate to keep populations steady and stable. 1.2 means that their population is shrinking. At that pace, if you start with 100 million people, after just 3 generations, you're down to 20 million people. The factors driving Japan's collapse are already entrenched in America and Europe. We are next. Let's take a look at this video.
Japan is running out of people. It will get worse, and we are next.
Yeah, apparently in Japan, adult diapers are outselling baby diapers, which is really bad. You need more babies than elderly people at any given point in time.
Last week, Japan's government announced the country lost 861,000 people last year as the country's fertility rate, so the average number of babies a woman is expected to have over a lifetime, fell to a record low of 1.2. For perspective, if you start with 100 million people and have 1.2 babies each, after 3 generations, you are down to just 20 million people. Related, over 65s now account for 30% of Japan's population, while a new study finds there are 9 million vacant houses in Japan, which is about 1 in 6 houses in Japan that are vacant and falling down. What's driving it? As always, government. Namely, we're running out of kids because slow growth and inflation force two-income families, while mandatory government pensions remove the main historical incentive to have kids to support you in old age. So if you're struggling to make ends meet as it is, and if you don't need kids when you're old, you will delay or skip them altogether. And that is exactly what happened in Japan. In the 1950s, Japanese women had, on average, 3.5 children. In 1961, universal pensions were introduced and the birth rate and marriage rate started dropping. Then came the 1970s inflation, which took the percent of young Japanese women working from 46% in 1969 to 83%. The finishing blow is the lost decade stagnation, which forced even married women to work to make ends meet. So the percent of married Japanese women aged 25 to 29, those are prime childbearing ages, went from 50% in 2006 to 80% working today. In fact, today in Japan, there are more young women working than young men working. The government's response has been to rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic with one-time cash bounties or the left's favorite subsidized childcare, or, of course, importing new people. None, sadly, work. Immigrants bring their own labor shortage with them. They go out to eat, they get their teeth cleaned, they stand in line at the doctor. Otherwise, we could just annex Canada and have millions of spare workers. Meanwhile, many European countries have tried both cash for babies and free childcare, and it doesn't work. Scandinavia, for example, has universal childcare, And the result is fertility rates of 1.5 in Sweden and Denmark, 1.4 in Norway, and 1.3 in Finland. So no, it's not a lack of government spending, it is the government spending itself, which drives inflation and stagnant incomes to where there is no financial cushion to start a family. Meanwhile, government pensions reward doing the bare minimum by equalizing payments and disincentivizing hard work. I'd guess with an assist from public education that, at least in the West, turns child against parent, leaving mom and dad to wonder why they sacrifice so hard to raise people who despise them. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. Unfortunately, there is no public policy cavalry coming. While voters might vaguely wish there were more babies in the world, that's up against trillions of crony dollars driving the inflation stagnation juggernaut. Fortunately, on a personal level, you don't need a bureaucrat's permission. In a dynamic economy, research actually says men make more once they have kids. You work harder. This is called the fatherhood wage premium, and studies find it essentially covers the extra costs. So while the developed world turns out the lights, it is your kids who will inherit the earth. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
So by various means, whether it's abortion, whether it's chemical sterilization, whether it's promoting the trans agenda, whether it's by social manipulation, social engineering, convincing people, oh, it's too scary, the climate change is too dangerous to bring a kid into the world, or whether it's just economically squeezing people by devaluing the dollar to the point where nobody can have kids. This is the engineered collapse of Western civilization, of civilization in general, as they want to depopulate the world. But it happens to be, these Western civilizations. I don't know if Japan would necessarily count as one of them, but it's us that are standing in the way. And so they're attacking us to make sure that we don't have enough kids to repopulate, to keep populating our countries. And this is happening all over the world. We showed the chart across Europe with the reproduction rates lower than 2.1 as well. It's a big mess, guys. It's a big mess. Let's hop over to Joe Rogan. Joe goes there, raises serious questions about Joe Biden's height after he disappeared with, quote, COVID. Joe Biden's recent COVID diagnosis has ignited a storm of speculation. The latest to weigh in on the matter is none other than Joe Rogan, who raised some eyebrow-raising questions about Biden's height following his apparent disappearance from public view. It's crazy, man. We saw the video before with the CIA chief of disguise talking about how they can make twins of you or multiples, but usually they just need a twin, a double. But when they make a double of you, and you allow that double to exist as a president or whatever, you're setting yourself up for your own destruction, because at any point, once the double gets out there and people are used to the double, they can just eliminate you, and the double is their puppet that will continue going out there pretending to be you. This may be what happened to Joe Biden. Beware, doubles. Don't allow people to make doubles of you, because it's just a precursor to making you disappear. Earlier this month, Biden announced he tested for COVID-19 and would be isolating as he recovered. This announcement came on the heels of his last public appearance in Las Vegas, where he was seen struggling to walk. Since then, the silence and lack of visible updates have left many questioning the true state of his health. Let's jump down to the Joe Rogan clip and see what Joe's saying.
Like, he's barely hanging on.
He was fine to State of the Union. I think it's like sundowning,
Okay.
What?
You think there's a body double?
That guy walked very differently than Biden.
Very
different. Saw that.
He's a lot taller.
It's on Scott Adams' Twitter. I saw that. I'm like, am I Alex Jonesing today?
No, he's a lot taller.
Yeah.
No, he's physically taller.
Yeah, okay.
And he walks way better. Like, as someone who, like, you watch Biden walk, he had a stiffness. Like, death was coming for him.
And before everyone freaks out, has their mousetraps and their heads go off, I think there should be more presidential body doubles, because one president almost got murdered. So if we have ways to keep them safe, let's use them.
Okay, that's a good thing to say. We cover our ass there. And now, Obama administration. Look at the size of this guy.
This isn't the clip I saw.
He's so much bigger. Look how big he is. He's so much bigger than Joe. He's so much bigger. Like, he gained a legitimate 6 inches. Look how tall he looks. Look at it.
Wait, Jamie,
She's wearing heels as well.
Jamie, there's one on Scott Adams' Twitter.
This is from his Twitter.
Oh,
but let's
no,
watch.
it's the one he's walking to the helicopter.
Let's watch this again. Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
That's another one. That's a similar one too, where you see one more time. Let's see him walk again. So, like, look how much bigger he is than Jill.
Holy shit!
He towers over her. He didn't used to tower
I didn't see
over
this
her
clip
like
before
that.
I saw the other one.
And also, if you look at her, she's wearing high heels. See?
Oh wow, yeah, you're right.
See her high heels? Okay, and he's towering over her. That is a much taller person.
They show a picture.
So maybe they hooked him up with some fucking secret sauce that's going to keep him going, and he'll be back. Maybe they have ability to go back, like, biologically, take you back a decade or two. Yeah. Giant difference.
Well, hold
in
on.
height.
Is that because she could be behind him? So
No, listen, she also has high heels on, man.
No, but on the left, it could be that she's
No.
Perspective.
That's a different human. Look at the size difference of the torso.
Them walking to the helicopter is the one where it looked really.
Go back to that, please. Look at the size differences in the torsos themselves, from the top of his shoulders to where.
Oh, look how many buttons! Yeah, look at the white of the shirt.
Yes, just look at the size difference. Look how much longer that human is on the left. Now, it may be Biden. Listen, they might have some wild shit that brings you back from the dead.
But
like medical science is getting there's some people out there working on some wild stuff.
But do you know?
Maybe they just fucking jolted him up with some Wolverine juice.
Well, Wolverine juice is going to make you taller. But here's the thing. In the same way in the 60s, if you sat on the show and said Liberace's gay, people would yell at you because you've never seen him sucking a dick.
Right.
People right now will be like, it's impossible. Why would they do a body double?
No, I
That's
don't
ridiculous.
think they would be. I don't think they would be anymore.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think there's a lot of people listening right now who think you're crazy?
My parents. Like regular people,
Your
no.
parents don't listen to this show. They got shit to do.
We saw the CIA chief of disguise say that they make doubles, that they can make twins, they can make multiples of people, but they only typically need a twin. So it's been admitted at this point. We played that last week on that clip from Ian Carroll at Cancel Cloco
They don't.
on X.
But if they did, they're boomers. They're
course.
full on. They're full on.
Listen to this.
You got to keep Trump out of the White House. What you're seeing right here, it really looks like a different person. Now, why are we saying that? Because it actually does look like a different person. We're not making something up. Okay, I don't do that. I don't pretend. I don't lie. I'm not a type of person that looks at something like that and like I have a propaganda thing I'm trying to push. Like when people say, this version of Joe Biden is the best version ever. Intellectually, I'm telling you, he's on point. That's not real, right? I don't do that.
We were also told for years
that's why.
that these are selectively edited clips.
Mm-mm.
And deep
Cheap
fakes.
fakes.
That's
No,
why.
no, they call them cheap fakes.
Yeah, cheap.
Nobody's falling for the bullshit anymore. Real quick, I keep getting banned from places for posting my own content on places, so I'm relying on you guys to share the show all over the internet. Views on Monday tanked because I am unable to share any place. I keep getting banned from places for self-promotion. I'm literally just trying to get free content with important news out to people. But no, you're not allowed to do that apparently. So I need you guys to help me get the word out about the show. Just take a couple minutes and copy and paste it and share the link to the broadcast across the interwebs if you guys have a couple seconds. Thanks again for liking, commenting, sharing, following. I think we're like 2 subs away from 1,000 right now on Rumble. So yeah, we're at 998. So if you're new to the show, hit that follow button and help us hit 1,000 by the end of the show. That would be great. Thanks for helping out. How about this? National debt just surpassed another milestone. This is from my de facto advisor, Silence Dogood. We hit 35 trillion bucks, but hey, who cares, right? We're just going to keep sending more money overseas as they announce 500 million in military investment to Philippines as the China threat rises, and as they passed another $1.7 billion to send over to Ukraine. You can't make this stuff up. We're going deeper and deeper into debt, and they're just spending more and more money as a result. Completely insane. Look at this classic clip of Zelensky over here with his Coke nose. Take a look at this. This is just hilarious.
Largest donor of military equipment to
This
Ukraine.
is who we're sending
and we
billions
said
of
that we
dollars
would
to.
match or exceed that amount, almost 2.5 conversations, which is why we've provided it on, but also those long range.
Not bring to anything good.
Phase of the battle, and that's a very productive conversation that we're having today as well. Good.
So, for instance, Mama Mac, who doesn't even have a direct conflict of interest, but like she said, was banned off of Patriots.win for sharing the show. That's like the secret weapon, the Scored and Patriots.win and Great Awakening.win and stuff. We get thousands of views from over there, but they don't let you post your own stuff. So all it takes for you guys to help us get a lot of views, a lot more than a number of our subscribers, is just take a couple seconds and copy and paste the link over on places like Patriot.win. It helps. Patriots.win. The Donald helps massively because I'm not allowed to do it myself. So I need you guys to help spread the word and help the show grow. Appreciate it. Let's jump over to our next topic. Oh, yeah. As I mentioned, $1.7 billion to Ukraine. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted over here as I'm trying to find my place in the show notes. Let's jump over to our next topic. Speaking of spending money, you all know Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, the two FBI's asshole people who had talked about the insurance plan to make sure that Donald Trump's presidency would be sabotaged. Apparently, the government's going to pay them $2 million in settlements over the release of the anti-Trump texts that revealed their bias and their inability to actually do their job. Ex-FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page allegedly reached settlements with the Justice Department that will see the government paying out a total of $2 million in their lawsuits over the department's 2018 release of their text messages. Former agent Strzok will get $1.2 million, and Page, who was an FBI lawyer, will get $800,000, according to the settlement agreements obtained by the Communist News Network. Strzok and Page finalized their settlements with the Justice Department in court filings on Friday after alleging the department violated the Privacy Act by releasing to the media texts they exchanged criticizing Donald Trump during the 2016 campaign. Quote, "While I have been vindicated by this result, my fervent hope remains that our institutions of justice will never again play politics with the lives of their employees," Page said in a statement provided by her attorneys, while she's over there playing politics with the lives of the president, man. Like, this is so ridiculous. Justice Department declined to comment on the matter. They're mad they got exposed. So there's been a lot of confusion about the Butler rally and who fired shots and who didn't fire shots and who was involved. A lot of people are making claims that an individual named Maxwell Yerrick was involved. So this was posted by Into Thin Air, at Into Thin Air. Bombshell Trump rally shooting update. Relative of Maxwell Yerrick is confronted on camera. Maxwell Yerrick was on the Butler Farm show property on July 13th, allegedly. This relative first says she doesn't know Maxwell, then says she's related to him, allegedly. There's a major cover-up going on to hide the identity of Maxwell Yerrick, who he's claiming the image was photoshopped to look like he had the same ear as Thomas Crooks. False, in my opinion. It's not just the ear. Look at, he blacked out the face so you can't see that the eyebrow is a perfect match for Crooks as well. Doesn't match Yerrick at all, the eyebrow. So this is like the fog of war. There's all kind of information that's conflicting and contradictory going on out there. I don't know why people are pushing this Yerrick thing as if he's the guy on the sloped roof. It doesn't appear to be that. As may quote, the owner of the white van with the MSNBC sticker on it is directly related to this woman and her address. This is huge. I don't know if that's true. Let's listen to some of this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's some big news starting to circulate around TikTok and elsewhere regarding the name of Maxwell Yerrick from here in Arizona. Let me give you a little information on this person. You know that white van, that white GMC van that was towed away from the Butler, Pennsylvania rally after Trump was shot and after these other people were killed? Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That van has been tied to this person, Maxwell Urick from Arizona. This van had Arizona license plates on it. And what I want you to do is go Google this name, Maxwell Urick. They're starting to scrub all information from Google and all these other sources, but there's still some stuff up. Go look at it right now and see who this is. This is a potential second shooter at the Trump rally. Now, I don't want to get my video banned, so I'm not going to say too much. I know I'm walking a fine line here. But ladies and gentlemen, what I did is I started doing a little research on this guy, and I found that he was tied to a company here in East Mesa, Arizona called Urick Armory Explosives. And if you Google that, ladies and gentlemen, it will show you a residence, a house. So today, me and my brother, we drove down to this residence, and very luckily, this is just by the grace of God, ladies and gentlemen. This is just how things happen sometimes, and you got to give all praise and glory to God, because there's no way this could really happen. But as we were driving by, there was a person walking out, and I was able to talk to her and ask her some questions. And I want you to be the judge of her body language and the things that I asked her and how she answered. And tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen, because something is very fishy about this, and things are just not adding up. So.
And I did see a statement released by this Urick Armory organization claiming no relation to Maxwell Urick, one of the alleged people involved with the assassination attempt. Real quick, let's end this YouTube broadcast and go exclusive on Rumble and X, so we're not breaking any rules over on YouTube. Boom. There's the link for anybody who happens to be watching on YouTube. Sorry to have to ditch you, but we're dragging people over to Alt Tech to try to build Alt Tech. So come on over and join us where we can talk freely and the water is warm. If you can't make it, we'll catch you on the flip side. But until then, let's get ready to rumble!